All right, we're gonna go on to our next topic.
Okay,
And
let's
that
go.
is a question from a fan.
Okay.
I'll read that question. It comes from. So he didn't give us our real name. His real name, rather. He gave us his an avatar name, Spaceboy. So whatever that means to you, Spaceboy from California. He says,
Spaceboy.
yeah, Spaceboy. He says, in your opinion, what's the best opening in video games? In my opinion, the best opening in video games is BioShock. What is the best opening in video games? That's a tough one.
That is a tough one. I'm trying to like go back into my memory bank.
Yeah.
So
Extra Credits, which is a great YouTube channel, far superior than ours, youtube.com/extra credits. They do a breakdown to Skyrim's opening and one of the Call of Duty openings, and they show the stark differences in like action and storytelling and importance. Right, Skyrim's opening has a lot of mechanical issues with it. You can't really look around at who's talking to you. Everyone's giving you exposition through dialogue, yet you're in a position where you can't really view too many great things, and the environment's not adding too much of the dialogue that's given to you. It's really just an exposition, right? Like straight from the mouth of an NPC. Whereas like Call of Duty has a lot going on, and you're learning as you're playing through the game, which is a lot more effective. So I think that's a pretty good example of a game that does an opening poorly, and then a game that does an opening really well. Gosh, with that said, I mean, this is also famous. One of the best openings to any video game, and I'm getting very, very mechanical with this. Megaman X.
Oh yeah, I definitely know which one I'm going with.
Okay, I'll just wrap this up. Megaman X, Sequelitis did a video of this as to why it was so good, and it just taught everything the player needed to know about the game in that first level. So that was an amazing opening to the game. You got the feeling of what the game was, so that like, you know, no surprises and everything, and it taught you really well through the gameplay on how to do everything. I could go through a list. I don't have I can't. I'll maybe get a favorite out of this, but I'm just kind of shooting from the hip here. So yeah, those are just some that come to mind. Rocco, you had one that you want to go with.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out exactly which Call of Duty it was. Infinite Warfare. So I guess yeah, it's the one that came out this year. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. That was one of my favorite intros.
Really?
Like, so we're talking about like intros, like the cinematic / gameplay that intros into the whole thing, right?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't have to be cinematic. It's really like the opening to a video game. Like,
okay, yes, I loved it. Okay, so for the Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, it was like they were telling you a story about all the stuff that was going on, and like you were this agent, and you were having to get, you know, immediately thrown into a scenario where like you're having to break out these guys from this prison. So they're telling the cinematic story, and it's like awesome the way it's being all done. It's like I think it's like to go back in time on a train, a huge explosion to go back in time kind of deal. Then they go running through the dungeon. You unlock these guys out, and it's like as you're doing these awesome missions and running through, it's interplaying cinematics too, and then it puts you into the next stage. And this goes on for about 20 minutes, and that's the whole like intro / you know, gameplay intertwined with one another. So it's like you're getting these cinematic events, but then you're getting, you know, these gameplay that are coming up. And the whole story the whole time going through it was awesome to me and entertaining to me, because it's like it is these bionic. I don't know if you guys saw our last topic. If you didn't get over there, by the way. But it's like you're these bionic individuals that has like all these abilities, and then you have to fight at the end of this whole intro, and you end up like dying in it. A ton of like these bionics, and it's like gets to the point where just like zombies, like overwhelming, and then it's like finishes out, and it was really cool. I loved it. It was sweet, and it was like what hooked me at first. Yeah. And then I got into the multiplayer, and then I was like, oh gosh, I got killed, and I was like, let me just. This was the first Call of Duty I was ever like, screw the multiplayer. Let me just go play the single player, because that was so sweet. You know what I mean? So it was like that was very catching. That was different than anything else that I felt like I had experienced before with an intro, you know, to a game.
Do you feel?
And not like totally different than everything else, but different enough as in like it told a really good story and good cinematics and good gameplay all at the same time. So it came with a package, at least for me.
Yeah, right on. And I think that's a key part about it, right? Is like, as long as you get like the mood and the feeling that the game's trying to convey. So something like a sweet cinematic that might be better graphics than what you're gonna find in gameplay, and something a little bit more scripted that's knows what it's doing and what it's trying to convey to the player, combined with maybe in this case Call of Duty, right? You've never seen stuff like this before. Like this is all new, right? And it's very, very
it was very new. Yeah, it was futuristic and stuff like that, and I loved it. I love futuristic like anything. So
yeah,
I mean that was also probably another one that like played into it. You don't see all the bias that you probably have in reasons why we make our choices of what's favorites. You know what I mean? But like that's one of them. Like I'm sure the futuristic feel to it, the first person shooter to it. The Call of Duty, I didn't care about whether it was Call of Duty or Battlefield or any of that different stuff. It was just like, that was freaking cool, though. The story and everything that had tied to it.
And,
for me,
a game like that can succeed, right? Because it lives or dies on that like beginning moment. But what about something like World of Warcraft, right? Do you remember your first moments, or even EverQuest? Like, to my knowledge, like World of Warcraft wasn't that epic. You start off pretty much in underwear, and it's like, hey, talk to me.
I don't think
go kill these pigs.
That's not what's catching them there. You know what I mean? Like totally different games. I think they're gonna have different sales pitches. You know what I mean?
But should they though? Right? Like, because as MMOs have grown over time, I'd argue that those openings.
Well, come on, hold on a second.
Yeah.
It is cinematic gameplay. Think about it. When we were starting like our blood elves and stuff like that, and you're fighting, and it's like, oh, go to the and you're like, okay, cool, fun. So you go run over there. No, it wasn't exciting. It was boring, but it was good enough to get you at least started in the gameplay and interacted a little bit. And think about it, if you were new and you totally had no clue, I know we bypassed it so many times, but if you were brand new going into it, it's like that might be pretty cool. Right?
I do think that standard holds now, though.
Crazy.
Like, if you were to jump an MMO and it opened like World of Warcraft, like I've seen games now, MMO specifically, that have that level of complexity and deep amount of layers to their game systems, right? At other MMOs, and they open far more epic. Like you are, after you create your guy, like you have your opening area and a giant monster is attacking it, right? And you have to help defend the area with people, and that's huge. Is it necessary?
Maybe like gameplay like start and stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's necessary. It does, because you're right. It can be overwhelming to have all of those abilities at once, trying to figure out how to do that. But I wonder if it's just like we need to compete with WoW. We can't open up like WoW. We have to open up with something new and different.
That would be so cool if WoW did open up something like open up with an intro like Infinite Warfare to me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it was that. It would be insane. I probably would be like, you totally got me hooked. I'm definitely down for the ride now. Let me see where this goes.
So I'm pretty sure the WoW expansions do this.
Okay, gotcha.
But I haven't played one in a long time, so I'm not sure.
Here.
But I know Burning Crusade, you got that expansion, you go into the portal, and you are faced with a giant war that's going on in front of you. It's very epic. I mean, it caught your attention immediately. So that's interesting. So then let me ask you this. You play The Division, and you play Destiny. I've played Destiny too, and we could probably comment on that. But I'm curious, did Division open up epic scale? Because it's a little bit more akin to something like Call of Duty, where it could potentially open up with like a very large-scale battle or something crazy. Did you feel that Division caught your attention immediately through an opening?
I can't remember Division's opening right now, so I would say like, gosh, no, right? Like exactly. And I remember Destiny's, but that wasn't impactful.
No,
you know what I mean?
I remember Destiny's for negative reasons.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would say. I would say for negative reasons, I wouldn't mention it because I'd be like, oh,
it's very boring.
So very run of the mill,
But it was simple, and that's why I can remember it. And it was very scripted and linear, which is why I can remember it. But it wasn't eventful. I think the keys to a good opening are really.
So what's your favorite? What would be your favorite then? I mean, you didn't say your favorite, did you?
I'm starting to dislike what's your favorite
I
questions
don't.
because they're so hard to do.
I know.
I
But
would say Mega Man X because of its technical abilities. Like its craft and game design for 2D platformer to teach you those things. There's a lot of great examples that I think like I want to say Call
as an
of Duty.
intro. So as an intro.
Oh
that,
yeah,
that
yeah. It
held
was
up
very
to you as
technically
like.
sound.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Very
Gotcha.
well crafted. I used to always really like the first Assassin's Creed because they did that thing like Metroid where like you had,
Yeah.
or I think this was Metroid, you had all your abilities. You were a god essentially. And then so you got to see like what that felt like and then they stripped it from you. And then that was where your motivation came from. So you really got to feel like what this end game experience could look like. And then you immediately were like felt the mood and the gameplay and then they took it from you and you're like, fuck, well now I definitely want to play.
Yeah,
because I want to get that back.
That was good. Yeah.
Right.
Then the repetitiveness though to get to where that point, and then whenever you got to that point, it was just like that's what killed me. But yeah, that was a good hook. I did like that hook.
Right. It is
was
really
good.
about the hook, and the hook is about just. I think it's about knowing what this game is going to be. It needs to nail the most fun aspect of the game in that like small window of opening to really just encapsulate you. And I think you need to hit on all cylinders. You need to hit on gameplay. You need to hit on narrative if it's important to your game, and a lot of games are these days. You even have to hit on like a cinematic feel, like
Yeah, but I would
an
say like narrative,
environmental
even
feel,
like
art.
Infinite, like Call of Duty had a narrative there. You know what I mean? It's like
it's important.
even a game where they normally would be like, oh, you're just gonna shoot people's faces off and just die like randomly nonstop. It's like this single player mode was awesome.
I think
You know?
I think when I say narrative, I think I might be leaning towards the idea of like progression. Like how does narrative in the sense of progression drive me? Because in Mega Man X, it was like in Assassin's Creed, the narrative is these bad guys took this stuff from you. Go be a god again, or you can be really powerful. Go fight these guys and you'll do it. That's small narrative. It's there's more
Gotcha.
layers to it, but at a simple like gameplay, like you're driven to that, right?
Yeah.
There was another game that I was gonna mention that just narratively like drives you forward. But it lost me.
Then I would say that Call of Duty didn't have that. Then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there wouldn't have been any of that. It was just the story that was going on with the action was was well enough put together that you were like, okay, I'm hooked with this right now.
I think this is an end or, not an end thing.
Gotcha.
So if it has one, I think it's fine. If it has both, that's great. It doesn't need to have both though, because I don't think it applies to all games. And the last thing, it just hit me. So this is funny because Skyrim had a bad opening, but Oblivion actually had a captivating opening. In that, like you're presented with the king, and it's interesting. Like you're in this cage, and you're going with the king, and you're kind of protecting him. Skyrim, you're like getting all of this jargon while you're on this like little coach and you're driving through the woods. Immediately you're attacked by a dragon, but you can't really see. You know things are crazy, so that's kind of eventful, but you're a little bit lost, right? Whereas
I did like that. I did like Oblivion start. Yeah, that dragon thing where you had to fight the dragon right out the.
That's Skyrim. That's Skyrim.
Okay,
Which I think
that's
is
Skyrim.
I think it's
Never
good,
mind.
but like I think there's something about Oblivion's opening where you're going through the tunnels and you feel very claustrophobic. You feel the need to protect this king, and he dies. Spoilers. And you're like, oh god, like this is crazy. I have to like there's something wrong in this world, and I have to like come up and help it. And then you go through this whole thing. I don't know if you remember, but then you come out of the jail, or out of that tunnel, and the doors open up, and you're shown this huge world and a castle out in the distance, and you can go anywhere you want. And it's such a beautiful, just like, okay, you felt the claustrophobia.
I played Oblivion. Why can't I remember this?
Yeah, it struck me as one of the most like awe-inspiring moments because it used the environment, right, and that narrative to really drive home.
As a story.
Yeah, as a story, and just like as a great way to be like, and this is what the game's about. You're not in these little tiny tunnels. The whole world is, So,
at your fingertips.
yeah, it was a really great just reward to be like, oh my god, if I do good things, I get to find new places. This is awesome. This is what the game's about. So it was really cool exploration. So yeah, why don't we?
So who was that again? That was Space
Space Boy.
Space Boy.
Space Boy.
Space.
from California. Thanks, Space Boy. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
I've gotten a couple more
Hey,
from
by the way,
fans.
Space Boy, I know we didn't get to hear what yours was, but comment on
No,
that
he
one,
did.
please.
He did. I believe he said his was Bioshock.
Did he?
Yeah, and that was a pretty
Bios.
cool one too.
Okay, yeah.
I have to say.
Yeah.
But let's move on to our next topic. Space Boy, if
Yep.
you have other thoughts.
Hey, by the way, Alan will be on in 15.